Hello, I'm painting badly, and I'm going to show you how to mix greens very efficiently with only basically 3 different colors to get an expansive range of greens, and to lay out some other terminology for you so you can help understand how to better mix your colors and understand other terminology related to paints. Okay. So we have 3 colors out here right now. Okay. These are not the 3 colors in totality, but I wanted to show you a difference first, okay? Our first color is Bismuth Vanadate Yellow Lemon, okay? This is a yellow that is very neutral, as in it doesn't necessarily lean red, and it doesn't necessarily lean blue, okay? It's very close to being as pure of a yellow in pigment form as we have. It's almost the same color as Cadmium Yellow Lemon. I choose Bismuths for practicality. They're cheaper pigments than cadmiums, even though they're not necessarily extremely cheaper. But as in I make all these paints, it is safer to make bismuth than cadmiums because the biggest danger with paints is inhaling dry pigment. But non-toxic. Neither is cadmium. When it's in oil, is not toxic either. But it's what I've grown to prefer. And the price is better, Frank, and you get a better yield out of the pigment, so that's why I use it. And then we have 2 different blues. And they might look the exact same to you, but I'm going to show you in a second how different they are, okay? First, we have ultramarine blue, okay? Standard ultramarine, synthetic ultramarine blue. I sell it, great color. This is what we'd call a warm blue, so a blue that leans red, and I'll show you how we know that that is the case momentarily. And then we have Phthalo Blue, and this is pigment number PB15:3, and that's actually an important distinction because 15:2 actually is the red version. This is or can be the red version. It actually varies, and sometimes companies call just PB15 that one. It's part of the horse shit of the paint industry. Point being is though, so this is 15:3. This is Phthalo Blue green shade. Companies that make it like this, I know are Williamsburg. This is my brand, Badly Made Paints. That's my Phthalo Blue. Williamsburg makes 15:3. From my understanding, Winsor & Newton and Winton do not. They use the red shade. So this demonstration will not work if you're using Winton and most likely Winsor & Newton, okay? But here goes. So, how do we know if this is a blue that leans green, or a neutral blue, or a blue that leans red? Well, a good test is to use this neutral yellow, mix this neutral yellow. So, let's mix a green. So let's start off. We'll take some of our ultramarine blue, get it down here, and let's mix some yellow into it, okay? And let's see what we get. Okay. And you can see we get a pretty good green here, right? It's a green that would work well for landscapes, right? Seems like a very good green, okay? So now let's take some of our Phthalo Blue. Okay. Phthalo Blue is a fantastic pigment, by the way, very stable, and one of the strongest tinting pigments that I know of that exists, okay? Now let's mix some yellow into that. Let's see what happens. Okay. And you can see right away, I'll add more yellow to this to get it in similar brightness, but there's a humongous difference in the intensity of the green. And why is that? Well, especially when you see them side by side like this, the reason why is because the red in the ultramarine blue desaturates green, okay? When you want to desaturate colors, you want to add the complementary color to it. So for greens, the complementary is red. So the way to desaturate green the most, we add red. So we have a very saturated blue-green here, where we have a desaturated kind of neutral green here because of the red in ultramarine blue, and because of this phthalo blue has a little bit of green in it. Okay? All right, so when I said in the beginning, you only need 3 colors to essentially get any or a large range of greens, okay, is that we can, instead of using ultramarine blue, we can obviously make our strong greens and desaturate it while expanding with only adding one color to our palette. We could add a color. This is Pyrrole Scarlet, which I also sell in my shop, but it's a very similar color to cadmium red light. So it's like a red that leans orange, okay? And we could use this to desaturate our green here. And now we expanded the ranges of intensity of greens that we have, right? To the point that we could even mix something pretty close. Or closer. And obviously if we go back and forth, we can get pretty close to that, much closer to that ultramarine blue and yellow. There you go, added a bunch. Just to mix a little bit more of that green in there. And so with adding just the red to this, with our greens, now we can make a wider range of saturated greens, or desaturated greens, I should say. And really expand our color range, right? So with just 3 colors, we can get a wide range of greens. And would you believe me if we could also get almost a black? Because here's a fun note. Okay? I don't put greens on my palette because of Phthalo Blue. Because Phthalo Blue can make a wide range of colors, including practically Viridian, true Viridian, mind you, which is a dark green. Okay? So we have our dark green here. Let's put a little bit more yellow in that. Do a little bit more. Okay. But here, I have some true Viridian. And you can see how close those two are. Even if we just add a little bit more blue to this, even, we get extremely, extremely close to true Viridian, right? And then the fun thing about this red is it's almost a very close complementary match to Viridian. So if I were to add this red to the Viridian I mixed, you might notice that it starts approaching black. Or becomes a closer black substitute. I think if I just add a smidge more blue, and we get closer to a chromatic black. And even add the rest of the red to this. So with 3 colors, we can get a very dark, very close to neutral color, right? Approaching black, a chromatic black. We can get a wide range of greens, very saturated, practically, I mean, as basically as bright as you can possibly mix, all the way to black, right? So I don't recommend on my palettes any other yellow than a lemon yellow, because I can show you, right? Because here I'll put out some other yellows here. We have, that's the same color as cadmium yellow. It's actually just cadmium yellow. And we have yellow ochre here. And yellow ochre And the fact of the matter is that we can mix, you cannot mix better greens with these two yellows, or sorry, with these two yellows than with the lemon yellow. Because you can see it here, right? If red cannot mix, or red inherently cannot mix a good green, think about it. Which one has more red? Which one has the most red? Which one is the brightest? We can make the brightest green with this one than this one, right? So every one of these tones down the green. And then in addition, we have one other fun avenue we can go to with these greens. We do have to add one color, and that color, oddly enough, is titanium white. And we can get somewhere approaching teals. All right, so we've cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt teal to our palette, just as a reference. This is actually cobalt turquoise, but sometimes that name is used interchangeably. Sorry. This paint gets a little thick. I actually no longer use cobalt teal or turquoise because of phthalo blue. Okay, so we have some titanium white here. So this is cobalt turquoise. I know it doesn't show that intensely, and that's a camera issue. But with phthalo blue, I think you can still see how close we'll be able to match. But you'll see with just phthalo blue, and this phthalo blue green shade, and some titanium white, we can mix a great mid-tone blue. Okay? And then with our lemon yellow, right, that is very neutral. You don't need a ton of it. And we'll go back and forth, right? I added too much yellow to this. We're gonna need a little bit more blue. And a little bit more white. I think we're just a little bit more blue away. Try not to overshoot it. And you can see we're just getting closer and closer. Where we can start, get a very, very close color to cobalt teal. Where it practically serves the same purpose. Try and get that shadow out of there for you, but you can see how close we are. It's not perfect, but it gives you a very close representation of teal as well. Okay, so I'll bring some of this red on here again, or this Pyrrole Scarlet. But with three colors, lemon yellow, phthalo blue, PB 15:3, and Pyrrole Scarlet, we can mix a vast array of greens, right? A very large range of greens. And for realism, it covers you in most cases, because you never see like neon fluorescent greens in nature or in realism unless you're looking at like a neon sign. But for a practical palette, for not having 18 colors on your palette, these three colors will cover you in greens. It also covers you in oranges, side benefit, right? Side benefit, this has you covered on a vast array of oranges where you won't need another orange, okay? And it's a very good basis for a palette, okay? And not also, side benefit, is all these colors are very archival, very light fast, and not crazy expensive. If you'd like to buy these, I do sell all these colors in my shop. I don't sell the teals in my shop, but yeah, I hope you liked what you saw. If you have any questions, please leave the questions in the comments. I'll answer as quick as I see them. And please click subscribe. Thank you.